Ever feel like you're herding cats trying to get everyone ready in the morning?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, for this deep dive, we're taking a look at those parenting routines,
Great.
the
Yeah.
ones we try so hard to, make happen,
Yeah, yeah.
and how they often clash with the reality of kids being, well, kids.
Exactly.
Today's source is really funny about it.
I love when they can bring in the humor.
Me too. It's so relatable.
Yeah.
Because, like, as parents, we want things to be, sort of predictable.
Oh, absolutely. Structure is key. Or at least that's what they tell us, right?
Right. But then our little ones, they seem to have a knack for
Turning everything upside down.
exactly. Especially when it comes to, those everyday routines like breakfast.
Oh, breakfast is a battlefield.
Totally. The source talks about this whole thing about how a bowl of cereal.
It becomes a major ordeal.
Yes. Like suddenly we're having a 20-minute discussion about where milk comes from.
It's classic. And, it's interesting because at that age, they're really starting to figure out cause and effect.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're like little scientists,
I like that.
experimenting, testing boundaries. So when they ask, where does milk come from?
Yeah.
It's not just them, like, messing with us.
Right, right.
It's their way of making sense of the world.
So maybe instead of getting frustrated, we should look at it as
Learning opportunity.
a learning opportunity. And speaking of learning experiences, the source then moves on to getting dressed.
Oh, boy, that's another fun one.
There's this hilarious part about how a perfectly acceptable outfit, something you'd already agreed on.
Can suddenly become, like, a fashion disaster.
Yes. In their eyes, it's like the worst thing ever.
Oh, totally. But, think about it from their perspective. Clothes are one of the few things they can actually control.
Right.
So by choosing what to wear, it's them saying, hey, I'm my own person.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's about independence, self-expression.
It's not about the tutu over the snow pants. It's about her showing me.
She has opinions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once we're finally dressed and, like, ready to go, the source talks about car ride.
Oh, yes, car rides. Buckle up.
It's like this crazy mix of an impromptu concert and a treasure hunt for lost toys.
And always, always a race against the clock.
Oh, always.
Hmm.
But, I've heard that car rides are actually really hard for little kids.
They are. It's all about transitions, right? Going from one thing to the next.
Right.
And kids, they thrive on routine. So, when you disrupt that routine.
It can throw them off.
Exactly. Plus, you're in this confined space.
Right, stuck in the car.
So, yeah, meltdowns happen.
The source talks about, planning activities ahead of time.
Oh, yeah, planning can definitely help.
Have you found that to be true?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes it works great.
Mm.
And sometimes it totally backfires.
What about when the kids are just, like, determined to be grumpy in the car? Any advice?
Honestly, sometimes you just gotta let them be grumpy. Yeah, just acknowledge their feelings. You can say something like, I get it. You're not happy about being in the car right now. It's okay to feel that way.
Just validate their emotions.
Exactly. And sometimes that's enough to kind of...
De-escalate things.
Exactly.
I like that. It's so easy to get caught up in trying to fix everything.
Oh, for sure. We've all been there.
And then, of course, there's bedtime.
The grand finale.
The source, they nail it with this whole thing about the endless requests for water, the monster under the bed checks,
The I'm not sleepy dance.
like a nightly ritual.
It really is. And there's a reason why bedtime can be such a struggle.
Oh.
Biologically, kids' sleep cycles are different from adults.
That makes sense.
Yeah, their bodies don't release those sleep hormones until later.
So it's harder for them to fall asleep early.
Exactly. And on top of that, bedtime often means being away from their parents, which can be tough.
Oh, right. Like they know that bedtime means the fun is over.
Yeah. And they want to squeeze in every last minute of playtime.
But we hear so much about how important it is for kids to have consistent sleep schedules.
Absolutely. You're right. Consistent sleep is crucial for their development.
In every way, right?
Yeah, physically, mentally, emotionally. Studies show kids who get enough sleep do better in school. They're better at managing their emotions.
Wow, so it's really important.
It really is.
So routines are important.
Yes.
But the source also reminds us that, sometimes you just got to go with the flow.
Embrace the chaos.
Exactly. And laugh a little. Like, parenting is messy and unpredictable. And that's okay.
It's more than okay. It's part of the adventure.
So it seems like it's all about finding that balance, right?
Exactly. Structure without being too rigid, routines, but with room for spontaneity.
Yeah, I get that.
Because, let's face it, there will be days when the cereal ends up on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah, there will be.
And bedtime is a complete disaster.
But, those are the days that usually end up being the funniest stories later on.
Oh, absolutely. They really are.
So for all the parents out there listening, as you go through your own parenting adventures,
Think about that balance.
yeah, how do you find that sweet spot between routines and flexibility? And, how do you keep your sense of humor?
Oh, such good questions.
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, parenting is a wild ride.
The wildest.
And you've got to have a good sense of humor to survive it.
Couldn't agree more.
And a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah. Tons of patience.
Okay. Well, thanks for diving into this with me.
My pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.